Well, good day, subscribers, but oh my goodness, it should be a bad day, right? Those Tesla short sellers are constantly bragging on how they're so smart and we are such idiots if we are bullish on Tesla. And if you don't even speak on Tesla in a negative manner, like you don't know what you're talking about, you're clueless, go through the comments on any of my Tesla videos and you will see how smart these short sellers of Tesla stock are and how they love to brag about how intelligent they are. But yet, these Tesla short sellers are down nearly $1.5 billion on Tesla stock, and that's not even accounting for a few things, okay? Al's World of Stocks showed a great graph in his video yesterday. Oh my goodness, okay? This is from S3 Partners. This shows you the short selling profit or loss in billions of dollars since 2016, okay? So the short sellers took a small loss in 2016 on Tesla stock. Then they took a $3.56 billion loss in 2017. Then another $1.4 billion in 2018. So even after this miracle of a year they've had this year where they're up $3.88 billion, they are still, as a collective bunch since 2016, down around $1.48 billion, okay? Now that's profit loss, so that's not even taking into account things like interest you have to pay when you short shares, okay? Because see, when you short shares, it's not like if you, let's say you go long a stock, let's say you buy some Apple stock, unless you're buying on margin, you're just buying those shares straight up. When you short a stock, you have to pay basically an interest charge on that short. And that can range anywhere from 2 to 10%. And sometimes some of these more, these stocks that a lot of people are short on, sometimes you have to pay 7, 8, 9, 10% on these stocks, okay? So let's just keep this in mind for a minute. Tesla short sellers are down nearly $1.5 billion and they've had to pay interest over the past few years. That's like a double bad, right? Not only do you lose $1.5 billion, but then you're paying interest on top. Like that is literally the worst case scenario. And now you can start to see why shorts are so desperate in their attacks and why they will say anything, while they'll try to cut anybody that's a long down in any way possible. They'll try to say anything they possibly can, okay? So let's go ahead now. Let's play out the short thesis and what they need to have happen to take this stock to zero. So hopefully they can make a profit someday. So let's go ahead and talk about the best case scenario for a Tesla short seller and what exactly needs to happen in order for Tesla stock to become an insolvent company, for it to become a $0 stock. And you will see how much of a miracle this would be if Tesla actually did this, okay? Now, let's keep in mind, once again, short sellers down nearly $1.5 billion. So just make sure you mention that in the comments to any of these short sellers that think they are so smart and like to make fun of us Tesla longs, okay? And make sure you go back to my previous videos because there are about 8 million different comments from short sellers on how they're so smart and we're so dumb, okay? So let's keep that in mind. Now, Tesla, they need Tesla to fail in a big way very quickly. They need Tesla to have massive losses in 2019 and 2020. They need this company to lose at least $2 billion in 2019 and another $2 billion, if not more than $2 billion in 2020. Why do they need this? Well, they need Tesla to burn all their cash, which if Tesla lost, let's say $2 billion, a little more than $2 billion this year, and another $2 billion or so next year, they would burn through their roughly $4.8 billion or so they're going to have in cash now at this point in time, okay? So they need Tesla to just have an awful year when it comes to profitability, like just awful. So they burn all that cash and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're stuck in a situation where it's like, uh-oh, we don't have any money around anymore. We burned through it all in 2019 and 2020, okay? So they need all the cash to be burned. Then they need basically demand to completely dry up for Teslas in general. Like no one buys Teslas. Like it goes from the hottest car maker to like all of a sudden overnight, like somehow, everybody else, is buying other vehicles, like other electric vehicles or something. And like no one wants Teslas all of a sudden overnight or something like that, okay? So they need demand to completely evaporate essentially overnight is what they also need, okay? So no demand all of a sudden, they're taking massive losses, they burn through all their cash. So then if there's no demand for Teslas, then maybe no banks will loan Tesla money. That's what the hope is, okay? This is, once again, this is like a short seller's wet dream on like what could happen to Tesla, okay? No one wants to buy Teslas anymore. Banks won't loan Tesla money, okay? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you guys don't have any demand. You have debt issues. We're not loaning you money anymore, okay? And then let's say Tesla can't issue any more new equity, which Tesla just very successfully issued new equity very recently, $2.7 billion in a snap of fingers. It was like nothing, okay? But let's say all of a sudden, you know, Tesla can't issue any more new equity, so they can't take out a bank loan, they can't issue new equity, there's no demand for their cars, they burn through all their cash, oh my goodness, okay? And then no other big tech company wants to invest in Tesla. So nobody comes to bail out Tesla in this situation. No one, no Apple, Facebook, you know, Google, no one, Microsoft, no big tech company in the entire world, and no automaker comes to bail the Tesla out and invest in Tesla, okay? Let's just remember when Apple was down and out in like 1997, right? Do we remember that? Apple, the biggest company in the world now, right? The most profitable company in the history of the world, Apple Corporation, that company today, okay? 1997, that was a company that was going bankrupt until Microsoft made an investment in Apple. Microsoft gave the funding needed for basically Apple to survive during that time, and the company got through those tough struggles, and over time, the next 2 decades, they made history and literally became the most profitable company in history. Not just like made it through, like literally become the greatest, okay? That's what Apple became over time, okay? That's unbelievable, but let's say no other tech company wants to invest in them. Although all these companies have billions upon tens of billions, even hundreds of billions of dollars on their balance sheet that they could easily invest in Tesla to get them through the tough times, to get them out to the other side. Let's say none of them wanted to invest, okay? So that would then lead to basically a situation where Tesla wouldn't be able to pay their 2021 through 2023 debts in that scenario, which would lead to Tesla going to $0 and becoming an insolvent company, becoming a bankrupt company, okay? Now, go ahead, any logical person, well, short sellers aren't too logical, otherwise they wouldn't be shorting stocks because there's no money to be made in that, and they're down $1.5 billion, and they've been in this position since 2016, okay? But any logical person, tell me how realistic this is. How realistic is this? You could say maybe the losses are realistic. Let's assume for a minute Tesla blows through all their cash over the next 2 years. They blow through it all, okay? They just boom, boom, they go through it like crazy, okay? But would demand all of a sudden dry up overnight? How does this company go from the hottest auto manufacturer in the world to no demand overnight? If anything, Tesla's getting more and more relevant by the you know, over time. Look at their last quarterly numbers versus the previous year in the same quarter. They were up dramatically, okay? Look at a chart, like it's unbelievable, okay? But you know, how realistic is that demand completely dries up for Teslas, and then no banks loan them money, and then they can't issue new equity, and then no other big tech companies? How realistic is this, guys? It is so like the wet dream that is like a Tesla short seller about the stock going to zero or something close to zero. It is so unbelievably unrealistic. Everything is possible in the stock market, okay? Everything is possible. But I can tell you, if I'm looking at this scenario, this would be the equivalent of me saying that next year, every single human on the face of the earth is going to buy a Tesla. This is the equivalent. Like if I heard a Tesla law and say, in 2020, every person on the face of the earth is going to buy a Tesla. If I heard somebody say that, this is the equivalent on the short side, okay? Just so unbelievably unrealistic for this whole situation to play out. It is possible, but I can tell you it's one of the most unrealistic situations I've seen in the stock market. And from a short seller perspective, I see so many stocks that are better short opportunities than Tesla stock here, and trying to bet that this stock goes to zero or something close to that is ridiculous. And keep in mind, these short sellers still have to get to break even. They need the stock to go down to at least probably $160, $150 just to finally break even on this losing trade that they've been in for years. And that's not even taking into account the interest they paid while they've had these shares short, guys. So, you know, all things are possible. We'll see what happens, but I'm just telling you, that's a ridiculous scenario. And don't let these shorts, you know, don't think they're so smart, because they are down massively on this position, and that's a fact. That's not an opinion, that is a fact, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, make sure you let those short sellers in the comments know. They'll probably hide from this video, but go back to the previous Tesla videos and just comment negative 1.5 billion, and they'll know what that means, okay? So anyways, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button unless you're a Tesla short seller. Then make sure you hit that thumbs down button as usual. I know that makes you guys feel so good. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.